Hello there, welcome back to my channel. It is no, it's not. It is Friday, May 9th, and that just says it all. It is the second to last Friday of school. Today is the 10th to last day, so after today, we are down to single digits of school left, but I'm sad about it. Me and my class and I decided we are not doing a countdown because it's gonna make us sad. But I'm gonna take you through the day with me because I have some updates to share. I'm gonna talk about some good things. I have a bag to unpack. I have an event that I'm going to tonight that's exciting. So let's get the day started. First of all, please ignore the hot mess that is happening behind my back table. Those are all materials for a science activity the last week of school. We're making an edible compost bin, and I have nowhere to put everything. So just pretend it's not there. Also, in full transparency, I am tired, which we're all tired this time of year, but Billy has actually been out of town. He has this big work event in May every single year, and the city rotates this year. It's in San Antonio. So because he has been gone, I have had a lot more on my plate, and as a result, I'm running on back-to-back nights of not eating dinner until 9:30, 10 o'clock, getting to bed and falling asleep at 1 a.m. And then I have to get up earlier. I've been getting up at 4:45 to be able to take Ember out before I head to school. But it's fine. Everything's fine. It is a Friday, and I want to start with some good things. This is something that we do at the start of every staff meeting and team meeting, and it's just good to reflect on the positive things, because on days when you are tired and there is so much going on and your to-do list just keeps getting longer, you gotta focus on the good things. And did I make a list of my good things so I wouldn't forget them? Yes, I did. First, the Living Wax Museum that my students did for their showcase on Tuesday night. I believe I talked about this in my last vlog, but it was fantastic. It was so awesome to see my students in a different light. They got to each choose a person that impacted Texas. They dressed up as their person. They memorized like a 2 to 3 minute speech, and they would recite it as if they were that person. And so many of them utilized accents.
Nothing is impossible to him.
And their outfits were just so on point, and it brought me so much joy to see them. And they were so proud of themselves to see their families come in and interact with not only them, but with their friends and other students in the class. It was awesome. Basically, each class, so I was partnered up with my switch teacher. Our students were all together in the cafeteria. So each group was kind of in a different spot in the school. Families would come in, and the students had to stand there as if they were a wax figure. If you've ever been to a wax museum, I've actually never been to one, but I understand the concept. The wax figures don't move or talk, so they have to stand there motionless. And then as someone would come up, there was a paper button on the floor that was just printed out and taped down that they would press, and then the student would start reciting their speech. They would like come to life and recite it. It was so well done, and immediately there were families like emailing us just complimentary of it. So hopefully that is a tradition that we continue in 4th grade. But after that, I went and redeemed some teacher freebies for Teacher Appreciation Week, because a lot of places do freebies all week, but some are just on Tuesday, which is like National Teacher Day or something like that. So after the Wax Museum, which it was like 7 o'clock, I went and got myself a free coffee from Summer Moon, which is one of my local coffee places I love. It's actually the coffee shop, so nostalgic, that Billy and I met our realtor at when we first started looking at houses here in Austin. So it holds a special place in my heart. They were giving free coffees to teachers, so I got that. I then went and got my car wash, and I braved it. I hate going through car washes. I don't know why, it just freaks me out. But I was a brave girl, I got it done, my car is clean, it felt really good. I'm done with grades. My students took a science test yesterday, and it was the final science test of the year. Earlier in the week, they took their last math test, and all of my grades are inputted. I'm not missing anything. All of my students are caught up. All of the extra credit has been entered in. All of the redos are done. So I get to submit grades today, and that will feel like a big relief, big weight off of my shoulder. Today is also our last Golden Emerson, which is bittersweet. It's not all good things because it does make me sad, but at the same time, it's exciting and my students are really excited for it. I will send that email this afternoon, or I might schedule it this morning once I know who it is. I've already talked with the current Golden Emerson. We have a couple of names in mind, but once we solidify that, I will send that email. They will be the Golden Emerson next week, and then I'm not gonna have a Golden Emerson the very last week of school because it's a shortened week and there's just so much going on. Last good thing that I have on my list is it is that time of year when I am signing yearbooks because our yearbooks arrived, and I am signing the Oh, the Places You'll Go books. So if you're not a teacher and you don't know, a lot of families, when their child is born, they will get them a book. A lot of times it's the Oh, the Places You'll Go book, but I've signed some other ones as well. And every year they will have the teacher sign the book, and then they give it to the student when they graduate from high school, and they have this record of all of their teachers. And one of the books I signed yesterday, the family also glued a picture of their student and teacher on that page of the book, which I loved. But I know as a teacher, it can feel overwhelming because all of a sudden you have, 12 books that you've got to write in. And of course you want to write a very personalized, heartfelt message, but that's time consuming. But rather than looking at it as an inconvenience or another thing on my plate, I honestly love getting to sit down and spend a few minutes reflecting on the student and thinking about what do I want to write in their book that they'll look back on. And I don't know, it's like I almost think about it as what would I want my teacher to write about me? Like what would bring me joy to read from my teacher? And I think it's cool when they get to see the evolution of who they were as students year after year. And so I try to really personalize it to what did I see in them this year in 4th grade. But the one thing I always write in their yearbook and their Oh, the Places You'll Go book is, please remember to mention me in all of your award acceptance speeches in the future. So we have plenty of good things going on, but there's also plenty of just things that have to get done this time of year. So here's a close-up of all of those things hiding out behind my desk. I feel like I need to repurpose one of these big black tubs for just end of the year so that I can dump everything in there because there's so many materials and things happening. But the edible compost bin, I have all of the materials. I just had families sign up on a Google Doc. They were all due yesterday and everyone brought in their items. So that is good to go. I don't need to do anything other than just wait until the last week of school. But today I brought in this big bag, so I want to go through it and talk about what's in here and what it's for. Now, before I start taking the items out, can we please just establish that this is a judgment-free zone? Because Mom, if you're watching this, my mom was a dental hygienist. She's not going to be happy with me because it's a lot of sugar.
Then he has a sugar crash in the afternoon, and then he falls asleep.
But I'm sorry. So if you have been around for a while, you may remember the Class Candy Awards. I did this my last, 3, maybe 4 years of teaching when I taught 4th grade. At the end of the year, I would give my students an award, and it was themed to candy. So for example, the Hershey Award because you are always so sweet, something like that. I actually have a set of edible certificates in my TPT store. I will link them for you. I will also link a vlog that I did, the pandemic year when we went virtual. At the end of the year, I dressed up as Willy Wonka and did the Class Candy Awards virtually. I mailed each of my students a golden ticket, and I then delivered the candy to their houses. So each award, the student gets the candy that goes along with it. And then I put my Bitmoji on there, and I find a Bitmoji that kind of matches the candy as best as I can. So when it gets to the last week of school, I will show you the actual certificates. But for now, I'm gonna show you the candy because last night I went to Dollar Tree is where I got most of it. I got a few things at Five Below, and then I got a few things at HEB, which is our local grocery store. But first we have 2 things of cotton candy for the Cotton Candy Award, and it's, something about your sweetest sugar. Now, I always preface this to my class about how it may not be their favorite candy, and that's okay. It's not what it's about. It's just about a reflection of who they are as a student and a way to recognize that. And then I typically will allow them to switch with another student if they both agree, and so long as allergies are okay, because obviously I'm not giving a student a candy that they can't have due to allergies. Like, I kept that in mind, or due to dietary restrictions. Then we have the Jolly Rancher Award. This one is for being a Jolly classmate, and I couldn't find a smaller bag than this, so it's fine. But these are the newer tropical flavored ones, which I have a small bag of here that my students have been enjoying, so I know this student will be really, really excited to get this one. Some things I bought doubles of if a student in both classes is getting the award. Other ones are just singles if only one student in one class is getting it. We have lifesavers for being a lifesaver and helping out your classmates. I'm not gonna remember the taglines for all of these, but I'll do the best that I can. Sour Patch Kids for never having a sour attitude. Then we have Gummy Bears for being a very good role model. We have Twizzlers for always being flexible. I had so much fun coming up with this years ago. Rollos for always rolling with the punches, I think is what that one is. Kind of, you know, go with the flow. I mentioned the Hershey bar. This is for always being sweet or something like that. Some other sugar candy sweetness pun. These are for making our classroom a butter place. Then we have 2 Snickers for always making us laugh. Then we have Push Pops for always getting your work done when push comes to shove. I really should not be laughing at these considering I'm the one that came up with them. Kit Kats for giving others a break when they need it, like helping them out. I think that's what that one is. Oh, we have these massive lollipops. They're so cool. These ones are for working round the clock. Not my best pun, but you do what you can. We've got, I know there's, yeah, I was gonna say there's 2 Milky Ways for having ideas out of this world. We've got Skittles for always having such colorful ideas. We've got Sweet Tarts, and I think this one is for always being a sweet friend or something like that. Starburst for always being a star student. Mentos for being a good mentor to other students. Not my best work. Okay, we've got Almond Joy for always bringing joy to our classroom. 100 grand for being a fantastic mathematician. Okay, we're at the end. We've got a Crunch Bar for helping others when they're in a crunch, I think. Good and Plenty for reading plenty of books throughout the year. Does anyone actually like these? I'm not a big licorice fan. And then M&Ms for being marvelous and magnificent, I think, are the 2 M words. That's it for candy. The only things left that I have to grab are 2 boxes of Gobstoppers, Fun Dip, and is that it? Yes, that's it. I keep a things to buy list on my phone, especially this time of year. And all week I've had on my list to get treats for our lunch bunch. So I think I mentioned this in my last vlog. I did an overview of the week where I went through all of my math plans for the week, all of my science plans for the week, talked about events that were happening. So go back and watch the last vlog because I feel like a lot of today will make more sense. But recently my students took their final diagnostic assessment for iReady. So they take iReady in math and reading, and it's a test that gives us data on their grade level, what skills they're proficient at, which skills they still need support in, and they take it 3 times per year. So the first diagnostic gives us their level at the beginning of the year. They take a mid-year diagnostic so we can see growth, and then they take an end-of-the-year diagnostic. Now, iReady sets goals for them based on their level. So depending on what score they got at the beginning of the year, each of my students had a goal and then they had a stretch goal. The stretch goal is like the more ambitious goal. So for both the mid-year and the end of the year diagnostic, if my students grew at all, so if they showed any improvement, they got to pick a little pencil topper. If they grew to their goal, they got to pick a pencil, and I had these like color changing pencils, so when you held onto it and heated it up, it would turn a different color and it had affirmations on it. If my students met their stretch goal, they get invited to a special lunch bunch, and we're doing the lunch bunch today. In fact, I don't know if I still have any. Oh, yes I do. I definitely put them in here. Yeah, okay. So in Tuesday folders this week, I sent home a copy of the parent report for iReady, and to that parent report, I stapled this little lunch bunch invite. Now, my students already knew that they were invited because as they finished, I would show them their diagnostic score and go over their growth with them. But this way, the parents understood as well. I just stapled this to it. I made this in Canva. And today is that lunch bunch. So for the little special treat that I bring them, I couldn't decide. So I got 2. I got these little 2-bite cinnamon rolls from HEB because they are on a roll. I love a good pun. And then I also got some cupcakes because everyone loves mini cupcakes. And because Mother's Day is this weekend, they had a lot of like pink and red and heart type things. So I got a pack of vanilla and a pack of chocolate. So they'll each get a mini cinnamon roll and a mini cupcake. I think I have, I don't know, it's like half of my students that are coming to the lunch bunch. But I now need to put all this away so that they don't see it. I want it all to be a surprise. They don't know about the candy awards. I've actually already printed their certificates. They're sitting back here. I did that night before last. So I feel good that that is all done, minus getting those last pieces of candy. I just need to keep them hidden in my classroom until the second to last day of school when I give them to my students. I feel like I never record this way and the lighting is probably awful, but while I put this away, I wanted to just kind of chat about the end of the year. Next week is a normal, Mentos are on a roll. Next week is a normal week of school. Air quotes, because we're still getting toward the end of the school year, so nothing is normal. We do have our House Olympics next week, which was rescheduled because the first date was pouring down rain. Well, actually no, it was supposed to pour down rain. It didn't even end up raining that much, but regardless, it got rescheduled. So that will happen next week on Tuesday. Otherwise, it's a fairly normal week. And I think that's important as a teacher to try to keep as much normal as long as you can until the end of the school year, because once you start changing things up and doing a lot of fun things, I don't blame my students, but they get a little squirrely, you know what I mean? And they're not the best version of themselves. Neither am I this time of year, you know what I mean? So next week is fairly normal, but looking ahead to the very last week of school, I think I decided, it's not fully solidified, but I think I'm gonna do kind of like either a theme for the week or some themed days, knowing that I'm doing the candy awards on the second to last day of school, because the last day of school, we have this bye-bye breakfast. So we have breakfast with our students, and then a lot of my students either won't be there or might leave early. And so I wanna do a lot of the like typical last day things on the second to last day of school. But because I'm doing the class candy awards that day, I kind of want to make it like a candy themed day. And I was trying to find some math activities. Hold on, let me put this away. If I sit here, am I tall enough? Yeah, that'll work. I am trying to find some math activities and science activities that would fit a candy theme. So for science, I actually found a STEM activity on TPT that's building like a robot hand that can grab candy. So they will trace a hand out of paper and then they attach like plastic straws and string to be able to pull it to make the hand move. I thought that could go along with the theme. And then what did I find for math? I can't remember what I found for math, so stay tuned. But then earlier in the week, because we're doing the edible compost bin on Monday of the last week of school, and that's also kind of food themed, I thought, well, maybe Monday could be like snack day, or I just make the whole theme of the week food because it works out. But if Monday is kind of more snack themed, I want to do a kind of project-based learning where they design like a snack truck, like a food truck essentially. I originally was going to do snack shack, but I think I'm going to do food truck. Now they did a start a restaurant project after the STAR test. So this would be in line with that, but a little bit different. So they could design a food truck and then do the edible compost bin for science. I think the food truck would probably take, well, not probably, it would take more than one day. So that could continue into Tuesday. And maybe then I just do like food/candy for the whole week. That way they could maybe start on the STEM project before the last day. I don't know. It's in flux. It's a work in progress, as is everything this time of year. But I will keep you updated with that as we move into next week and I get further along in the planning process. And here is my bonus good thing for the day. One of my team teachers offered to bring the team coffee this morning, which is so sweet, so appreciated, also so necessary. I went with my new go-to at Starbucks, which is the vanilla sweet cream nitro cold brew. And that sounds so fancy, but I promise it's amazing. Plot twist. I bet you were not expecting me to be in my car. I'll explain why I'm vlogging from my car in just a minute, but today was a really good day. The lunch bunch was fantastic. We enjoyed our treats. We watched Magic School Bus, and it was really nice to have just all of us in there together. I thoroughly enjoyed that time. And I'm having another one on Monday, although it will not be as big. I'm calling it my Prime Party. We'll chat more about that in my next vlog, but if you saw my prior vlog, and you saw my math plans for the week, you know that the past 2 days we have been learning about finding factor pairs and classifying numbers as prime or composite. And I had told my students yesterday that if they memorize the first 25 prime numbers, so the numbers between 1 and 100 that are prime, they could join me for a prime party on Monday. So today was the day where they could recite the prime numbers to me, and I got so much joy out of that. It was awesome. So I am vlogging from my car because I'm actually headed to Austin Community College, one of their campuses. There are multiple campuses, but one of my connections, Kat, who I actually met in person for the first time when I worked the Fig Jam booth at the ISTE Expo last summer. And she lives here in Austin, and this past year she has been in a role with Austin Community College with teachers, like soon-to-be teachers. And she had reached out to me and asked if I would come to their graduation ceremony to talk to the teachers who are graduating. And of course, I was so excited because I love not only getting to interact with future teachers, but getting to be a positive voice for them, because I think, I remember at least going into teaching, there was a lot of negativity, and there still is a lot of negativity surrounding teaching, but I felt like I didn't get as much positivity from people who were in the field. And so I want to be able to provide that for them, and I'm excited. So I wanted to just kind of show you all what I prepared, what I'm doing with them. They actually got a grant to purchase books for all of them, like my books, not just books, my book, which still feels so weird to say, but my First Class Teaching 10 Lessons You Don't Learn in College book. They will each have one when I get there, which I'm so excited. So I brought First Class Teacher stickers. I don't have these available anywhere. I actually got these for my book launch, and I've had a bunch of extras. So whenever I do events related to my book, I bring them with me. So I have a whole bunch of these stickers that I'm going to gift them. And then I am doing a giveaway as well. I love a good giveaway. I love it. So, and I want to be able to provide them with some of my favorite things. I'm doing a left-right story. If you've never done a left-right story, basically you have everyone line up in a circle, and you have either one prize or multiple prizes that someone starts with. You read them a story. Every time you say the word right, they have to pass the gift to the right, and every time you say the word left, they have to pass the gift to the left. So I actually found one on Etsy. It was just a digital download. It was called Class Pet Chaos. And so I'm gonna read them this story just as an example. Here's the beginning. It was just another ordinary day in Mrs. Wright's 4th grade classroom. So then they would pass it to the right. The students filed in, taking their seats, some on the left side of the room, others on the right. Little did they know that today would be anything but ordinary. So every time left or right is said, they have to pass the gift. And so I basically ordered some of my favorite things on Amazon. I'm gonna have 5 different gifts. So there will be 5 winners. And let me go through, let me see if I can remember. They're all wrapped up now. Last night, I just wrapped them in like brown paper. But this is a gravity timer, the same gravity timer that I currently have in my classroom that I've shared about. I love that it's a super small size. And basically, if you turn it to one side, it'll set like a 1-minute timer. If you turn it to the other side, it sets a 5-minute timer and a 10 and 30 minutes. But you also can manually set a timer. And I use this all the time with students at my back table. So one of those, what is this one? Oh, these are a pair of the Fisker scissors where they have the, what's that called? Spring. They're like spring loaded, so you don't have to use your hand to open it up. It automatically opens it, and it's a lifesaver for your hand. So if you have never used spring loaded scissors, highly recommend. I will link all of these items in the description box, by the way. This is a SCOTCH staple remover. I have 2 or 3 of them in my classroom, but it's the little thing where when a staple is in the wall, you put under the staple and pull out and it pops the staple out, but it also is magnetic, so the staple doesn't fall down to the floor. It catches at the end, which is really nice. These are sticky clips, which if you're not a teacher, you may have no idea what I'm talking about. And if you are a teacher and you still have no idea what I'm talking about, you need to get some sticky clips in your life. They're basically little plastic things that you can stick onto the wall. So they have a sticky piece on the back, and then you can use it to slip papers in. It will hold a paper. But what's fantastic is they are removable and reusable, and they don't leave anything behind on the wall. So highly recommend, and one set will last you a while because you can reuse them again and again. And then the last one, this is a Scotch laminator, because every teacher, I think, at least if you're like me, you need a personal laminator. So I'm going to do the left-right game at the very end, and there will be 5 winners with some of my favorite items, and I want them to open it like in the moment. That way, even if they don't win, other people there can maybe get some ideas of things to ask for as a new teacher. I am also doing a little kind of speaking thing. So for, I don't know, 20 minutes-ish, I'm gonna do, it's not quite a presentation because I won't have slides. I'm literally just speaking. And so I had to print out notes because my brain is not braining very well at this point of the day and at this point of the school year. But it's all about the ABCs of your first year of teaching. So like the things that they don't teach you in college. And it's loosely based off of my book, but I have other little hacks and tips and tricks in here. Basically, for each letter of the alphabet, I go through and share tips. So I have like printed notes for that. And then I also printed copies to be able to give to each of them. So this goes along with it. And I've already written out what each letter is, but there's also a little bit of space if they want to take notes. And then I also am giving them a link to a bunch of freebies in a freebie folder. So that's where I am headed. And I'm, like I said, very, very excited, very honored that they asked me to come. Like, I just feel so lucky to get to do what I do and spread the love of teaching, because if anything, this year has really made me fall in love with teaching again. There's my little vlog tagline. That's not the title of every vlog, but that's gonna be it for this video. I will vlog again on Monday. I'll share more about the Prime Party and kind of talk about what's going on next week. However, if you enjoyed this vlog and you're excited for summer ahead, we're down to 9 days. It's bittersweet. Like, I'm happy because I need summer and I have some fun things planned this summer, but I'm also sad because I don't want to let my students go. They've already asked me to go on to 5th grade, but 5th grade scares me. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button and notification bell. As always, thank you for watching. I love you so much. Don't forget to put your positive pants on, and I will catch you in the next one.